So we are here with Tom Funk here at the Outdoor Discovery Center. So Tom, tell us a little bit about this beautiful bald eagle and why it's here at the Outdoor Discovery Center.
Well, this eagle came to us in 2016. It was born in the spring of 2015, and it had a broken wing. We didn't do the repair on that wing. It went to a rehabilitator first. It actually went to Michigan State University to their veterinary department, and they determined that this eagle most likely fell out of its nest when it was fledging. It was a juvenile at the time. In fact, it didn't look like this when we got it. Its head and tail were brown. It takes bald eagles 4 to 5 years to develop the white feathers.
Now, some people wonder why it's called a bald eagle since it has feathers all over its head. So could you explain how it got its name?
Sure. The Old English word bald, which ends with an E, means white. And it was called the white-headed eagle. And over time, it got shortened to just bald eagle.
So eagles are categorized into 4 groups, and bald eagles are part of the fishing eagle group. So Tom, tell us why bald eagles are so good at fishing.
Well, first of all, they have excellent eyesight. The eyesight of an eagle is about 6 times that of a human, so they can see prey about a mile away. They can see clearly fish below the water, and when they dive on the fish, what gives them the main advantage is their feet. You see, their talons are amazingly sharp. The bottom of their feet is really rough, and that aids in gripping the fish. They can lift half their own weight. This eagle weighs 9 pounds, so this bird could lift a 4.5-pound fish out of the water. If they catch a bigger fish, eagles have actually been known to swim with the fish in their talons to shore, swimming with their wings. It's an incredible sight.
So what kind of habitats do bald eagles like, and where can people find them?
Well, the bald eagle can be found virtually all across America, from the southern United States all the way north as far as Alaska. In fact, Alaska has the most bald eagles. The habitats you're going to find the bald eagle around mostly is water. They like to put up their nests near rivers and lakes because that's their main food source. That's where they're getting their fish that they eat. But most bald eagles migrate from Michigan south, and it's not about the temperature. They have no problem with the cold. All the eagles in Alaska stay there, but the ones in Michigan, where they're getting their food, freezes, so they can no longer get fish. So they fly to places like Kentucky Lake and Lake Barkley and the Illinois River by Starved Rock, where you can find them because they're areas of open water where there's plenty of fish to eat.
So what kind of care does this bald eagle need in captivity?
Well, we feed him 5 times a week. He fasts 2 days because that's similar to the wild. And we have to care for his feet. It's really important that birds' feet in captivity are cared for. They can get diseases on their feet, which if they can't perch, they'll die. So we check their feet, we trim their talons so they don't get too sharp because they continually grow. And we just make sure he's as happy and clean.
Now, being a bird of prey means that eagles eat other animals and fish. Now, that didn't start until after sin entered the world, and some animals started adapting to eating other animals as sources of food. Now, God made a world that had no death in it, but He gave eagles the genetic capability and potential to adapt and survive, even in a world full of sin. And today, they are some of the world's best hunters. Their adaptations and abilities showcase God's incredible design and creativity in His creatures. Well, this bird is really impressive. Tom, what do we have here?
This is a golden eagle. This golden eagle was found up in the Upper Peninsula. It was caught in a foot trap. A trapper had set out a trap with bait. This eagle found the food, ate it, and it caught his foot. And the only injury he sustained is he lost his back right toe. Okay, that's the hallux, also called the killing toe. That's what they drive through the animal that they catch. The veterinarians, the rehabbers, decided that losing that toe was enough that he might be less successful in getting prey, so that's why he came to us.
While bald eagles are categorized as fishing eagles, golden eagles are categorized as booted eagles. So Tom, why is that?
Okay, well, it's actually a pretty good physical description of the eagle. If you look at the top of this eagle's feet, you'll see his feathers come right down to the top of his feet. That's where they get the nickname booted eagle. Now, the fish eagles don't have feathers down that far, and that's because when they dive and get fish, their feathers on their legs would get wet, making them heavier, and it would be harder for the eagle to fly. So the fish eagles don't have the feathers to their feet, but the booted eagles do.
So bald eagles and golden eagles are both eagles, but they are different species. So what makes them similar as eagles and what makes them as unique species?
Okay, well, physically, right away, you see their eyes are forward set. They have keen eyesight. They have a hooked beak. They have sharp, strong talons. Golden eagles have their feathers go down to their feet, whereas the bald eagles don't, as we mentioned before. And bald eagles actually fly a lot slower. Bald eagle in full flight typically only flies about 40 miles an hour. Now this bird in a dive can dive 200 miles an hour. That's the second fastest bird in the world, second only to the peregrine falcon.
So what habitats do golden eagles like and where can people find them?
Okay, well, what's really cool about this eagle, whereas the bald eagle was only found in North America, this eagle can be found all throughout the world. In the United States, they're found mostly in the West. They like to make their nests up on cliffs so they can see the surrounding territory.
That was so cool. The Outdoor Discovery Center has some amazing birds of prey that you can visit in person and check out for yourself. The eagles especially are very large, and it takes a lot to take care of them in captivity. Right now, we're headed to the Howell Nature Center because they have the largest wildlife rehabilitation clinic in the state of Michigan, and they have a lot of experience helping wildlife, including eagles. So we're with Evan Lure at the Howell Nature Center. So I was hoping that you could share with us a little bit about this eagle and the eagles that you get here at the Wildlife Clinic.
This is Keely. Keely is a 21-year-old bald eagle, which is only about halfway through his life expectancy when he's in the care of people. So Keely is an imprint, and we've learned about imprints before on this show. Peter, do you remember what an imprint is?
Yes, it means that Keely thinks that he's a person.
Exactly. So that's why we're getting that reaction to when we talk, he's talking. Now, his story is a little bit more complicated than him just being an imprint. So when he was a chick, him and his nestmate were in their eyrie, which is what we call eagle nests. And eagle nests can end up being as big as a car, so a couple tons. That's because their parents come back year after year to that same nest, building it up. Now, unfortunately, this nest had become structurally unsound and had actually collapsed. Good news, his nestmate was able to be released back out into the wild, but the tip of his wing was shattered essentially, and so he had to be amputated at a young age. Now, that's one of many types of injuries that we see in the bald eagles that come through our clinic. We've had eagles that have been accidentally shot that were able to be released after the soft tissue healed. We've had eagles that have gotten injured in territory fights. All of the eagles that you do see in captivity have some sort of injury. They are property of the federal government, so unless there's some sort of physical or mental injury with them, they have to be released back out into the wild, which is awesome because here at the Howell Nature Center, we've seen a few bald eagles come through our clinic.
So what kind of training do you do with the eagles here to help them heal and be able to be released back into the wild?
As you may know, bald eagles are apex predators. They're not squishy chickens, so they've got to be able to hold their own in a pretty tough environment. So they are piscivorous, which means that they eat fish, which can mean that they're sometimes pulling large salmon out of a stream, and they've got to be able to power through that with their wings. Now, the eagles that come into our clinic often spend a decent amount of time on what we call bed rest, essentially keeping their injury safe so that they can heal. But that doesn't help them build wing muscles. And an eagle belongs in the sky, so a lot of our training is working with them to build up that muscle again. So we have the largest, what we call eagle flight pen in Michigan, and it's 100 feet long and has an L bend to it that allows them to practice not just straight flight and flight from the ground to perches, but it allows them to practice banking turns. Eagles don't fly straight all the time, so it's really important that they can build those muscles in as well.
So for the eagles that are permanently injured and end up staying in captivity as wildlife ambassadors, what kind of care do you need to give them?
It is hot here in Michigan. Some of us might not think that it's as hot as other places in the country, but for an eagle that spends a lot of its time up in colder climates, places like Alaska, it's important to keep them cool. So we make sure that they have fresh water. We will give them a shower every once in a while. Keely will stand out in a thunderstorm and have the time of his life. But those are things that we make sure that we are emphasizing in their care here. And then for Keely in particular, because he is an imprint, spending time with people is just as important as it is to make sure that his physical needs are met. So doing stuff like this, where he gets to meet and greet new people, are great opportunities for enrichment for him.